Chief Meteorologist Dan Sionka. Dan.
Hey, Danya. Rain is back after kind of a full week and a half almost of dry conditions, which we don't get too often in winter, but we do sometimes. It's not uncommon to get these dry spells, but we're back into a more active weather pattern now. You got the rain today, out there tonight, a few more showers. Looks like as we look at our live look from Domenico's on the wharf, I would say it's probably lightly raining in the Monterey area right now, just based on radar and what we're seeing on the camera. So a little bit more precipitation through the overnight. I mentioned also we have a high surf coming in still. There is a high surf advisory, which lasts all the way until 4 a.m. In fact, some of the bigger swells are coming in right now, actually. So I wouldn't be shocked if this got extended. Ultimately, this is happening while you're asleep, probably not on the beach, soaking in the rays at the moment. But if you're near the water or plan on being near the water through the overnight, maybe you do late night fishing. I don't know what your situation is, but we have some big waves coming in. On top of that, there's a increased risk of rip currents and sneaker waves, So watch out for some big breakers overnight and more alerts in place for the next couple of days. We're probably going to see another round of high surf alerts probably for Saturday. We'll get a break tomorrow on that. But the next alert to talk about is a wind watch, and that is for all coastal areas and coastal mountains of Monterey and Santa Cruz counties. And this is going to be from Friday into Saturday. And the reason is we're expecting some gusty winds with this next storm system, which is quickly approaching. It'll be here late tomorrow night into Saturday. So there's going to be potential for power outages, blocked roadways, maybe some property damage, things like that. At the moment, it's not looking too crazy, to be honest with you, but I do think we're going to see some isolated issues with that, especially along some of the coastal areas that tend to get some of those higher wind gusts, and that's what I'm seeing as we head into Saturday morning. Top of that, the winds will be strong out over the water as well, so there are gale warnings in effect. That does include the bay into early Saturday morning, something to keep in mind if you're planning on going sailing. Looking at our storm tracker tonight, still a few showers rounding out our evening here across the central coast, all associated with this area of low pressure just moving to our north right now, but we can already see the shield of clouds associated with that next storm, which is still developing, and it's going to kind of come in pieces as it arrives here on the central coast over the next, say, 48 hours or so. So let's get right into our storm tracker and talk about how that plays out. Again, a few more lingering showers out there tonight. Tomorrow morning, we start to see some of this mid to high level cloud cover come in. Now, it's possible we may see a few sprinkles out of that. I know that looks pretty ominous on the map. I just don't really see that producing much precipitation. What is that? Well, it's this mid-level band of moisture coming through. So it could produce a very light precipitation, maybe mid-morning tomorrow morning. So it might be a little drizzly out there, but I'm not expecting, widespread rain coming through tomorrow morning. So just something to keep in mind. We might not even get anything out of it. The model has just been very, very pushy with it. So it's still there, but don't be too worried about it. As we head through the rest of the day tomorrow, southerly winds will slowly pick up. We'll notice it more on the exposed coast. So if you're out at Pebble Beach, Carmel Highlands, maybe right along the cliffs in Santa Cruz, at times you'll see these southerly winds begin to pick up tomorrow. And ultimately, we're looking at a partly cloudy day for the most part. Come back out a little bit, warm us up a touch during the day. Highs will be warmer than they were today. Not necessarily warm for this time of year. We'll call them seasonable tomorrow. But tomorrow evening, those winds will really start to pick up, and we'll see the first line of precipitation coming through as this first little boundary works its way through. So that'll be around midnight tomorrow night. Could be a little bit earlier. Basically, what I'm expecting out of that is light to brief moderate rain. As that comes through, then it kind of breaks out, and then we see the southerly winds pick up even more before the actual cold front comes through. And this is 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. Along the cold front, we'll have a little bit more oomph. So we're going to have gustier winds. That's when we'll probably see the strongest winds between 6 and 9 a.m. on Saturday, and a potential for moderate to briefly heavy rain. There's also just a touch of instability with this, so it's not impossible that we'll get a rumble of thunder out there, something to keep in mind, but I don't expect that to be the main issue. Really, it's just going to be the wind and brief heavy rain as this comes through. Good news is it's coming through fast, so watch what happens as we head through late morning. It's moving all the way to 9 a.m. We're past Gilroy already, past the peninsula, and as we head to lunchtime, almost out of here. So this is a fast mover. We could see some ponding on the roadways, but we're not likely to see like creek flooding or definitely not river flooding with this coming through. So could have some heavy rain, sure, but it's coming through fast enough that it's not really going to accumulate enough to cause any major issues. Winds will also die down behind the front. We'll still see a few showers, perhaps lingering into Saturday afternoon. Take a look at some precipitation, just a few more hundredths of an inch overnight from those showers coming through. And then we had in Saturday's flavors, and now we're looking at maybe a couple inches in the coastal mountains, cities around the bay. Perhaps a little bit more than what we saw this morning, maybe double at the most. So not a major system, but I mean, well, it'll be a good soaker. Temperature forecast tomorrow, we're going to be back into the 50s across Santa Cruz County. You'll have southerly winds, so that doesn't allow you to warm up all that well because the bay is only 54 degrees. Well, the water temperature is anyway, so you're not going to get much warmer than the mid-50s tomorrow. On the east shore of the bay, sure, we can see a few little 60s. Salinas, Hollister, Gilroy, Prunedale, Watsonville, low 60s tomorrow. Even Monterey with that southerly flow getting into 60. The winds won't be really that strong tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow night before they start to really pick up unless you're on the exposed coast or up in the mountains. Down south, a few low 60s, not too bad, pretty seasonable. On the 7-day forecast side of things, you're going to see those temperatures staying somewhat cool. We've got rain, kind of stormy weather on Saturday. We get a break Sunday. That's your weekend day to get outside and enjoy it. Another weaker system comes through on Monday. We'll have some wind and probably some light rain, and then some warmer weather returning as we head to midweek next week. Inland area is also kind of cool the next couple of days. Rainy and windy Saturday, next system on Monday. I'll be here in the Weather Center tomorrow, and we'll get you into that Saturday system, so make sure to stay tuned to my forecast. Back to you.
Sure. Thank you, Dan.